You still believe?
I still believe. I believe
in
more
QC
than ever.
kinetics. Now, what do you mean? What'd you say? You believe what? More now than ever?
More than ever.
Oh, my God.
Like, that's not a bad football team. If they can clean up the turnovers, that's a good football team.
Really?
I'm okay with them.
I'm putting this out so more people can watch us, but wow.
Yeah, the officials, hey, we talk about media maybe a little bit too much. The NFL Network, the Good Morning Football people are dead to me because they didn't talk about the officiating. They had Jason McCourty say, oh, it got busy down there late or some nonsense alluding to the officiating. At least Get Up with Greeny and Rex Ryan showed the PI that was just goofy again and again and said it was just totally ridiculous. So good for them. Good for Get Up. We crap on ESPN from time to time. At least they had the sack to say, you know what, the NFL really screwed this up.
I agree. Look, Greeny was on it last night. I saw on Twitter, and I don't know how you don't. Like, Steratore disappointed me because he defended the pass interference, and
how?
I can't remember what he said. Like, well, I mean, the pull, you don't know whether he can catch it or not because he pulled him, and I thought it was, if you're not going to call a ball like that uncatchable, then don't have the rule.
Right.
Just don't have the rule.
Right.
I mean, if you got the rule, that might be the textbook. And one of the things that I saw tell me, there's no room behind there.
No.
None. And that ball was over his head. The first one, the hold or whatever they called it, illegal contact.
That was a horseshit call, too. That was a bad call.
I don't know.
That's a bad call.
Just because you say it loud doesn't mean I'm going to agree with you.
Well, it's true.
Why? He grabbed him.
But the receiver initiated the contact, pushed away. It didn't impede his progress toward what might have been a pass eventually if the pass had been thrown. I thought it was a goofy call. I thought it was wrong.
With you. I thought it was horseshit. But that one, I can kind of sort of.
It's a gray area call. The uncatchable, there's no chance.
I don't get mad much watching. That pissed me off.
Yeah.
I mean, and I had the Colts getting 3, so I was going to win the bet. I mean, it was all good. But, I'm going to say this, and this is apparently controversial, but the NFL was very vocal about this, Kent. They were going to get younger and more diverse in their officiating. Yeah. And I know 3 different NFL officials, and they all said the same thing. It used to be it took you 25 years to get in the NFL.
Right.
Now, 52% of guys in the NFL have less than 10 years experience. 37 have less than 5. Guys are getting through. They were fast-tracked. Women, fast-tracked in the name of getting younger and diversity. And guys will tell you, look, think about this. You're in the NFL after only 8 years. It took Mark Bolts here, I think he told me one time, 25, 23 years. And he stayed in it for 25 years. And he was let go in the name of getting younger and diversity. And you're seeing the result. I don't care. I said this on my show. I don't care if the entire crew is women. I don't care if it's white guys, black. I don't care. Just give us the best people because this is a bazillion-dollar freaking industry.
Yeah.
And it's the, what did you say last week? Like 75 of the top 100 shows are NFL. And just give us the best. Because it wasn't just a Colts game. We saw Philadelphia get 0 penalties last night. And then people are putting things out with helmets are grabbed, holds are happening. It's horse shit officiating.
Yeah.
And because it's not that sport is so hard to officiate, you got to have experience. And they eliminated it and they got rid of veterans, a lot of them. And they, in the interest of younger and more diverse, and call me whatever names you want, but they have said this. This isn't me making this up. They have said this, and it's terrible right now.
And you're right. Best officials should officiate. That person, I believe, was a white male.
Yeah, it's fine.
Right?
Yeah.
And that it doesn't really matter.
No, but it's. I would also say this. I believe this. Now, people think I'm nuts. A couple officials that I know, Baltz being one of them, said you're absolutely right. I think replay has killed officiating.
Oh, I do too.
Do you?
I think replay's awful.
I think it's killed it.
It's awful. They're graded against it.
Right.
So it's not about fairness. It's about exactitude. And exactitude, I don't think, has any place in the game because there are gray area rules. So you can't be exact.
Kent, they know. And how did, a veteran official, one of the best officials in the history of college basketball, and I'm not going to say his name because I don't, I just never asked him to say his name, so I won't. But he told me, he goes, look, Dan, he goes, when you're an official and you get to this level, you know every call is right. And I'm not saying they're all right. You know every call is right. Now, because of replay, there's doubt in your mind.
Yeah.
And that doubt is killing officiating. It is killing it, Kent. And so you combine all these factors. And again, it's not just the Colts. Hey, get on Twitter and see the parody Mike McDonald, the coach of the Miami Dolphins. He's got 6 penalties that are so blatant. One was a face mask turned around on a wide receiver, and they're all missed. Holds, they're all missed. It's terrible across the board. And it cost the Colts. I think it cost the Colts a game yesterday.
I talked to the director of officiating in college basketball for the Big Ten. He was a fascinating guy.
What was his name? Who was that?
I can't remember. Oh. But it was like 2019.
Oh, that was, what's his face?
And so, but he was interesting, and nobody wanted to talk to him. It was like college basketball media day for the Big Ten. I was like, I'll talk to this guy. I was like, what's going on with officiating? And he told me, he was like, officiating's really good. Replay shows, the grading after the fact shows that 98% of the calls are correct. And I said, I don't care about correct, I care about fair. And he looked at me like I was speaking Greek. I want fairness in the game. I want rules to be adjudicated in a way that the team that plays better wins the game. That's what I want. And replay does not help toward that end.
It doesn't. It does. And you know what? The old answer is, I want them to get it right. Well, replay doesn't always get it right.
There's right and then there's right.
Yeah, I mean, all right, so let me ask you this. So the other side of all of this is, well, you should not be in that position. You should take the officials out of it.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't either. That's all I heard all day.
There?
Right. How do you take I asked Urban one time, I said, basketball, had a fixing problem, right? The Donaghy, and then they're like, okay. Right. I said, can you fix football? He goes, oh, God, yes. He goes, how do you determine a spot for a first down?
Yeah.
He goes, you ever see those guys? And ever since he did this, it's driven me crazy. He goes, you ever see how their body language can tell you they're guessing where the spot is?
Yeah.
So if a guy wants to fix a spot, it's a big third down or any third down, it's short or it's good.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, Kent, people that say, well, the game is decided by the players, not the officials. Sure, most times. But I'm telling you, I thought P.J. Walker sucked. I know he's getting props.
He was terrible.
He was freaking horrible. I told Lee when they got first down at the goal line, I said, they're not going to pass this ball in. It'll be, and I didn't realize, okay, you get the fourth down, now you can run it until I saw them line up.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if you have to pass this in, they ain't doing it because that guy can't do it.
And they dipped their wick in that pot three separate times.
They weren't even close. They weren't even close.
I was like, what are they doing?
I know. I thought at one point, it'll be a rollout or something, but he's back there and he stinks. And now,
terrible.
You got to look at the Colts and say, okay, you're year 7 with this regime and you lose at home to a team playing P.J. Walker.
Yeah.
I mean, I love your enthusiasm, don't get me wrong, but you shouldn't lose to P.J. Walker in year 7 of a regime with the greatest GM in the history of the world.
Well, you're right. I mean, P.J. Walker at a QBR is something like 25.4, and Minshew was like 75. You should never lose a game where the chasm between the quarterbacks in terms of QBR or passer rating is that extreme. Ever. But Myles Garrett was really good. He really changed that game. And I know prior to the game, and when we talked on Thursday, I was like, he's one guy.
Yeah.
Come on, just stop that guy. Well, they couldn't. I mean, they were trying to double team him, and they couldn't touch him. He was really good.
And you got rookies out there trying.
Yeah, poor Blake Freeland. He was on roller skates.
As soon as I saw a penalty, I would think 75.
Yeah.
75.
Yeah, Will.
You know what? It goes back to that old Venturi thing about players, not plays.
Yeah.
I mean, the players dictated that. But yeah, Minshew was good, except for he kept giving the ball to the other. The one play that pissed me off, and this is what makes me crazy about announcers. This pissed me off because you mentioned it, Archuleta and whatever that other, Spiro, whatever. They never talked about this. You know the first turnover, the strip?
Yeah.
He, instead of just tucking it when he's getting pounded and going down, he tries to make an idiotic play. He's wrapped up and he tries to make a play, and they just hit his arm ball. That's just stupid.
Yeah.
And the announcers never saw it. Either they were in love with Minshew, in love with Garrett, whoever falls. But you're the quarterback. You live to fight another day. Common sense says it. It's not brave. It's not Minshew mania. It's like you're going and he's going to put his arm out here and do what?
Yeah.
That pissed me off from every standpoint.
I'll give you another play that pissed me off about Minshew was the pass to Mo Ali Cox. They're in position for a 52-yard field goal, and instead of just mucking it, throwing it at Mo's feet, because there are like 8 defenders within about 3 yards of him, throws it to Mo, and Mo's like, what do I do? And he gets taken down, so they got to kick a 60-yarder. Garrett does the Bubba leap over the line and gets the block. What are you doing?
Oh,
hideous.
I agree with Van Pastor, man. It's just pride. Sometimes you go down. All right, the rule I was told is this. If you're going to jump over, then you can't touch anybody.
Right.
Yeah, or else it's propelling. How good? I don't know what Garrett weighs, but it's probably closer to 300 than 280. And to be able to do that and jump over, hit the ground and go back up, and he looked like freaking Godzilla, man. He looked like he was just, and it, like, can you imagine? You're looking up as the holder going, oh, crap.
Yeah.
Because you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
He's right there. That dude's a baller, man.
Yeah, that was really good. And we talked about Bubba Ventrone because he kind of wore us out here on Hard Knocks, but we thought that Bubba was going to do something, pull, some kind of rabbit out of a hat, and he did it. And that's Bubba Ventrone. But it beat him. Which galls you. Like, I don't want to get beat by Bubba.
I don't want Bubba.
Ventrone.
I don't want. Hey, where's the camera? Oh, it's over here. Yeah. Over here. That's Bubba Ventrone.
Bubba Cam.
I thought Myles Garrett for a while was a bust.
Yeah.
I thought, like, all of a sudden he might be the MVP of the league, non-quarterback division.
He was really good.
Dude, he was something.
But Minshew, like you said, he's got to live to fight another day, and he doesn't. And they had enough big plays to win that game. They made defensive plays that were really good. They're down guys. They stopped the run anyway. They gave up 150 yards, but we outgained them. I
thought the defense. I said it before they ended up losing. Gus Bradley did a hell of a job because they were bringing pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like P.J. Walker could just sit back there. It's just one of those deals where you feel like, and I know the Colts have got to feel like, man, now you got to stay with 2 losses. Instead, you feel pretty good if you can't, because you played like shit against Jacksonville. You played much better. I'll say this, and I know this doesn't matter, or at least it shouldn't matter, particularly the way I've talked about winning. But from a fan standpoint, that was a hell of a fun game.
It was really good. It was really good. Really fun. They got things done offensively that you would hope they'd be able to do. They played minus the turnovers. It's like, except for that.
Guy minus being bald.
What'd you think about the play, Mrs. Lincoln? But minus the turnovers, they played more than well enough to win yesterday. They played well enough to win against the Rams. Should have beaten the Jags in the opener. It should have lost to the Ravens, so that's kind of a counter. But, this is a winning football team, or should be through 6 games. They ought to, or 7. They should be a winning team.
Sean Black asked me, and I'll ask you, do you think the referees cost him the game?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that game's over. If not for the illegal contact call, that game ends.
Done.
That's the definition of the referees costing you a game. Now, did other things transpire prior to that put you in a position where the referees could cost you the game? Yeah, but you're not gonna make every play. I mean, the Browns are a good football team, minus P.J. Walker. The quarterback. They're not to talk about the Browns, but they're pretty good. If you get a quarterback on that team, Yikes.
I thought Deshaun Watson didn't want to be there.
Oh, I did too.
Did you?
He was terrible.
Horrible. And then once he got a real shot, he was out.
Yeah.
Like, I almost felt, and I don't know, this can't be true, but I almost feel like he was looking for a reason to be out. Stefanski knew he was looking for a reason to be out, so screw him. I don't care about your contract, which, by the way, looks like one of the most asinine contracts ever given to anybody.
Yeah.
And here we go. We're going to play P.J. Walker, and I don't give a damn. And I admire a guy because it's not like Stefanski is, 3 Super Bowls or any of that kind of crap. He's a guy trying to hang on to his job like 90% of the other, NFL coaches.
Right.
And what did you think? What did you think of Watson? I didn't know.
I like nothing about him.
Nothing.
Besides all the massaging nonsense, the massaging nonsense kind of shows you where his head's at. That he's much more interested in him than he is in being a functioning member of a team. He is really, really good. I mean, he's a skilled football player, but I think brain-wise, he's just not a guy that I would be willing to throw 200, how much? Man, 260?
I thought it was 285, but I could be wrong.
I think it's 260 and all of it guaranteed. Guaranteeing that level of money, having nothing at risk, I think is such stupid management in a league where you're allowed to do that. Like in the NBA, you can't. Like you've got to guarantee almost everything.
Right. Yeah, you don't have to.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Right.
What was Watson going to do?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question.
And again, Sean Black's been a good point. He said people in Cleveland feel like once you got the money, you can give a rat's. And I go back, it's like the Tom Allen thing. Where are you going? Like,
right.
Okay, Watson. I remember thinking that, like, you're the only team bidding for this guy, at least publicly, and you give him more money than anybody ever got. I will not understand that. I will not understand that.
It tells you that truck stop owners should remain in the truck stop business and get the hell out of the NFL. Great truck stop.
Great.
Best showers in the history of showers.
You've showered there?
Oh, on my way to your house when you were in Zionsville. You had a party. I was coming back from Chicago. I was like, I don't want to drag my ass all the way to Fisher, shower, and then double back to Dan's. So I stopped at the place on 65.
You did?
It cost me $12. It was luxurious. It was awesome. Like the flow was perfect. The towel was great. Oh, it was the best decision I ever made. It saved me an hour and a half.
Man, that's a man who married a woman that he really likes. But the best decision he's ever made was a truck stop somewhere on. Hey, don't watch this. Don't watch this, Julie. He didn't mean it. He said non-family. I heard it under his voice. I mean, can you imagine though? Like if Jimmy Haslam is the owner.
Yeah.
And
don't forget D. I'm sure D's got,
Yeah. But you're sitting there and you're going, I paid this guy what now? Like I would have.
He had to sign off on the deal.
He did, but so what do people get mad at truck stop owners that become NFL owners? Let the football people do it.
Yeah.
So you let the football people do it, and you're watching like we're watching. One day he says, I'm not playing, I'm not practicing. Next day he's starting. Next 10 minutes later he gets hit. Now he's in a big jacket. And, we're playing P.J. Walker for like, I don't know, pennies on the dollar compared to what this is. Like, seriously, what? Can you imagine, like, if you're the owner of that? Like, I guarantee you, I shouldn't guarantee this. I'd be curious to know. Did this guy Haslam have to be talked into this, or was he driving the bus on it?
And the best part of the whole thing is that if Jimmy calls the GM into his office and says, hey, like this looks like we were stupid. We're throwing a lot of money at a guy, and he laid down yesterday and was replaced by P.J. Walker, and the GM goes, we won. Jimmy, we won. Mr. Haslam, we won the game. Are we complaining about winning now? Go back to your office. That's the end of the conversation, right?
They're
know. 4-3. They're in good shape in the AFC North.
Yeah, the AFC North's getting better. Those apparently the Steelers and Matt Canada, who has an interesting history. I'll tell you off air here with Indiana University. He used to be a graduate assistant back when Cheney and those guys were at Indiana. Interesting. I won't get into it. But anyway, all right, so let's go. So
that's for the after show party.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
We need like Howard Stern Radio 100 or whatever they have, 101. I made money yesterday on a bet, and I thought it was the lock bet of the day, so I bet a lot of money on it, and that was Jonathan Taylor over 49.5 yards.
Oh, beauty.
I felt like, and it didn't go that easy.
No.
But I thought Jonathan Taylor, I think we talked about it last week. We all felt, didn't we, Jonathan Taylor was going to get some carries? I thought he looked pretty good. And
well,
I thought
he got
Moss
18. I wanted both to get 20. He got 18, Moss got 18.
Yeah.
So split it down the middle, and he had, 75 yards, something like that. That worked out, and he caught a ball out of the backfield that was important. I thought Jonathan Taylor looked really good.
I did too, and I thought Moss looked fine. I didn't think there was any problem with him, and Josh Downs looked good.
Oh.
He's going to be all right.
He finds seams in the defense. If you zone the Colts, Downs will find the spot, and Minshew will find Downs.
Yeah, and so, you know.
How about, didn't Pittman look fast? Running away from people.
Please.
I was like,
that means the other team's slow. That means the other team's slow.
And Denzel Ward
got
kind
hurt.
of quietly injured.
Yeah.
So
He had a nice
hear
pick,
people
though.
talk about it.
Denzel Ward had a nice pick.
He's a really good
player.
player.
He's really good. That's the thing. You know, you look at the Colts and back to your optimism. I don't think anybody, if you'd have put the over-under at 75 points, the entire betting world would have gone under, right?
Yeah,
you got the number one defense. You got Minshew on this side, particularly if they knew that Watson wasn't going to play. So now I'm going to share your optimism with this. Much better performance.
Yeah.
Much better. But you lost again. But you scored 38 points. Now, I felt like the pass rush was good. They got you on the run a little bit. How did they end up losing? How did they? I mean, maybe
those three turnovers are down.
It points to what coaches say, and it's a cliche. Whoever wins the turnover battle is going to win this game.
Always. I mean, you called me out on it a couple of weeks ago, and you were 100% right. Like it was, if you win the turnover battle, if you run the ball effectively, you say it about every game. Football isn't calculus. Football is finite math. It's really easy. Football is easy. If you win the turnover
battle, math
battle,
was not easy. I'll fight you on that one.
It's Venn diagrams. It's nothing but Venn diagrams.
It's widgets and confusion, and a guy actually cheated off me. Petey no-nos. I'm like, Pete, man, you're going to get a D. You ain't going to get an F, but you're going to get a D because I ain't doing any better than a D.
Well, it's good you weren't in calculus because
I tried 3 times.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah. First test, I got a 32. Dropped out. Took it in the summer at IUN in Gary. First test, I got a 33. So I thought I was doing better. Dropped out. Took it at IU. Got a 29 on the first test. And I went to Buzz Kirpius. I said, I need something without math. Telecommunications. Here I came.
There you go.
Anyway, all right. So your enthusiasm about the offense is I think it's, and the defense, I don't know. I felt like the defense played well, and they just didn't. Yeah, but they gave up 39 points.
Well, look, if Juju Brents doesn't get hurt and doesn't have to be replaced by DJ Baker, those 2 plays at the end don't matter. Because Brents was doing a really, really nice job. And so that kind of secondary had congealed a little bit. You were getting better play, I thought, out of Leonard.
Yeah. He only had 3 tackles, but he was at least around it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I thought he was okay, and I thought the line played really well. I
love
Taekwon Lewis. He's a great dude.
I'm starting to like what do they call him, the Hurricane?
Dio was good yesterday.
He's not bad. And you know what? We would be singing the praises of DeForest Buckner and the fumble recovery and all that stuff. And I think Minshew has only 7 turnovers in the last 2 games. I read that this morning. Now, somebody may have read 8, but he can't. You can't do that. No. He threw. I mean, he ran and he shimmied, and everybody got excited about the shimmy. But your number one job as a quarterback is don't give the other team the ball.
Here's this old guy yells at clouds, but the shimmy. Let's shimmy after we win a damn game. I don't need
That's
shimmies
the guy.
in the middle of the game
That's
for.
old guy.
Yeah, I don't. I like what Ditka always said: act like you've been there, just flip the ball to the official, and get back to playing. Let's go. I don't need all these social media viral moments.
You know who did that the other day? I don't know if you saw Jose Altuve hit a big home run.
Oh, yeah.
And he ran around the base. Everybody was losing their mind. He just ran around the bases, went in, and that's what I do.
Yeah.
He was the poster child of act like you. Okay, if we're gonna air grievances here,
Yeah.
I tell you what I'm tired of. You get a turnover, everybody runs to the end zone and does an idiotic dance.
I don't like that either.
And message to white guys: don't participate. You look stupid. I don't know why. I don't know why.
You know what? It's the same reason why white guys should not wear like thick old chains.
No.
African American guys, they can pull that off. They look good.
Yeah.
White guys,
a baseball
trying
player.
to look, like Joe Burrow with the chains and the cowl neck.
You look like a caricature of a white guy.
Yeah.
I tell you what, baseball players aren't messing around with the chains, man. Them things are like that thick.
Yeah.
Woo! Them dudes, man. The Hispanic players. The one dude that got, who was it? Did he get thrown out? I don't know, but he had a rope on him. Holy shit! But white guys don't. I can't stop watching for it now.
Know your lane.
There was a big old white guy with the Colts who jumped in there. I forget who it was in one of those celebrations, and I'm like,
Tavin Bryan, that guy.
I can't remember. It was a few games ago, and I'm like, oh man, that's not good. So now I can't stop watching for the white guy, and it's always bad. Like
it's like he's photobombing. Right? What do you stop it?
All right, let's go position. You like Pittman. You thought he was fast. Zach Pierce. All right. Alec Pierce. I always call him Zach.
I liked Alec Pierce. I thought was good yesterday. Like 3 catches, 60. I thought Josh Downs was awesome. I just think I would look for him first every play.
I agree.
I'm like, where's one? Okay, there we no. And then I'd go through my progression, but I start with one.
The offensive line, it's unfortunate. You're trying to throw rookies out there against the guy who's on a heater. I mean, if any defensive edge rusher can be on a heater, Myles Garrett's on a heater, and the other guys he was with were pretty good too. That was a tough assignment.
And he's moving around. He's against Ryman on some downs, and then over against Freeland. And you can't leave Freeland out there alone on Myles Garrett. That's not fair.
I put a tweet out. I said, the decision not to block Myles Garrett is not a good one. I mean, I'm not saying they didn't try, but I am saying, hey, fellas, we might. I'm just saying we might. Put a little extra attention. One time they put a tight end there, and it was like he was going to hit somebody like this and then go out. I'm like, no. Our tight ends don't. Yeah. No. Let's take care of this, and then maybe we can get down the field.
On one of the strip sacks, the tight end started trying to block him. Freeland set deeper, and he ran around both of them like they were just chicanes.
That was the one.
Yeah.
That was the one. I felt bad for Freeland. I did. I don't ever feel bad for guys, but you drafted, you think you're going to get a chance to play, and you do, and oh crap.
Yeah, that's the worst, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, be careful what
your parents are in your ear saying, what? I think you're as good as Braden Smith. You ought to be out there playing. And then he is, and you're like, oh, geez.
And they watch Pride of the Yankees and Lou Gehrig's, you can Wally Pip him. You can Lou Gehrig him. And it's like, no, I don't think so. Minshew was good, but look, everything you do as a quarterback just goes away when you throw it to the other team or you fumble it.
Yeah.
It just does. And whether that's fair or not.
Overcoming that's really, really difficult. It's really hard.
No, but all right, in general, other than the Myles Garrett offensive line,
I thought they were okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they run blocked well. I thought they were really, I saw Ryan Kelly emotionally engaged in that game, after the game when good things, or after the play when good things happened. He was out of his mind happy, and Nelson was too. I thought they looked more emotional and more plugged in, and I thought they were just enjoying themselves. And that's why I felt like I thought that they were going to win with that. And then the Browns ran that little flea flicker tight end thing. I was like, oh, you don't call that play unless you can't beat them any other way. I thought Browns know that they can't beat this defense straight up, so they've gone like off the reservation and they're throwing like gadget plays in here. Colts are in good shape.
Well, to your point, I think you're absolutely right, because they ended up beating him with 2 horseshit calls.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it wasn't, and like I said, when PJ got the ball down, I'm like, they're going to have to take a risk at running, because they are not getting this in with that guy. And he, again, NFL, like yesterday, I'm watching the Miami Dolphins play, and they're down 7, and Tua Tagovailoa hits Tyreek Hill on a kind of a slant crossing thing. And 99.9% of the time, he's going to catch that and go into the end zone. He gets going too fast, ball kicks off his knee, and it dropped, and basically it turned the game around. It just did. But I didn't think the Colts defense, for the most part, particularly late, got lucky in any way.
No,
you know what I mean? They were the better unit, and only a ridiculous call and then a worse call saved,
because they can't get in from the 8. They wouldn't have gotten in from the 8.
Not with that
time. They have to throw it to get in, and they couldn't.
The difference between, as soon as they lined up with that big fullback, I thought, man, all right, that's right, they can run it on 4th down, because what's the difference?
Right.
It don't matter. You're either going to score and the game's going to get over, or you're going to not score and the game's going to be over. I mean, either way. And that was a bad one. That was a really, really bad one. Brent, you got any update on him? Is he out for a while?
We'll get that from Steichen this afternoon.
Do you think moving forward, I think the Jaguars are really good. I think the Jaguars are, I think they're really good. No, you ain't buying them.
No. Just like I wasn't buying the Browns defense. They're not the 85 Bears.
No.
They might be somewhere in the top 12 in the NFL, but they played crappy teams. They gave up 38 to a team that hadn't really found itself offensively all year long. Gave up 38. When the 85 Bears do that? Never.
Would have had it been an 84. I just watched the Jaguars, and I think they're really good. And I'm with you. Take it even deeper. You gave up 38 points to a team with Gardner Minshew as a quarterback that gave it away 4 times.
Yeah, right.
I mean, there wasn't a kick return in there.
Nope.
I mean, hey, can we talk about the IU player?
Oh, Mackenzie Mgbako? No. Let's toggle. We know Mackenzie Mgbako arrested at 2:30 on Sunday morning in the parking lot of a Taco Bell on East 3rd Street. Yikes.
Where's that Taco Bell?
I haven't seen it. I don't know. I know the one that's like in the shadow of our studio that used to be the Hardee's.
Yeah.
But this one, I don't know.
There's a lot of reports. So the blogger boys are met at the Taco Bell. Oh, yeah, they're defending the kids, saying the Taco Bell. I've been to that Taco Bell. The service is horrible. They close whenever they want, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, be that as it may, when the cops knock on your door, you open the door and you say, yes, sir, I'm going to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, this dude, for those of you that, you read the report, right?
Yeah.
They had to break the window to get this idiot out of the car?
Yeah. Don't do that.
No. Kid.
Whatever you're going to, my rule in Bloomington, and remains my rule to this day, do nothing on Saturday night that you're going to regret Sunday morning or is going to cost you money on Sunday morning. Go home clean.
Yeah. Hey, man, I showed that cop, no, you're in jail.
Yeah.
And now, you're going to have to deal with everybody in the state and everybody across the country because you're an Indiana player being in jail for what? Because I can hear it. I was disrespected, man, by the workers. Well, you're in Taco Bell at 2:15 in the morning. What respect?
Yeah.
I don't.
You forfeited the right to any respect there.
Yeah, I'm not. And you know what was interesting to me? And I don't think we've seen a toxicology report, but it appears that he was not drunk, or not high.
Great.
Yeah, I mean,
but Taco Bell at 2:30 is usually the choice of people who fall into the other category.
Yes, yeah. I mean, rarely are you sitting at home with Susie Rottencrotch on a nice little evening date watching Airplane, and you're like, hey, Let's hit up Taco Bell right now. At
Run to the border.
Yeah, I don't think that's a move. I don't think so.
Well, why not do the
DoorDash.
Yeah, exactly.
They
They
got-
got all the money in the world.
Yeah, these kids. Oh,
Yeah.
they can DoorDash their ass off.
We'd get Dagwoods 333-3000. Deliver me a Supreme. Here it comes. No charge. No extra charge. It was awesome.
Let me tell you something. There's a zillion DoorDash guys. I'm in the DoorDash fraternity. There are a zillion DoorDash guys that are waiting around that time of day, and they're paying extra at DoorDash. They'll give you bonus money.
For going out late.
Oh yeah, they'll give you an extra $4. Let's say the bill was going to be $12 you were going to make. They'll give you an extra $4.
Don't go to Taco Bell ever. Don't go to a fast food place at 2:30 in the morning, and don't argue with the police.
I think you got them in reverse order.
Yeah, that's.
I'm not. I
should have
will.
led strong.
I refuse to subscribe to the nothing good happens after midnight.
Oh,
I had great stuff happen to me after midnight.
you did?
Hell, we didn't go out until 10 o'clock.
That was a mistake.
Why?
Go out. What's the difference?
I don't
Go out
know.
at 6. You
Yeah, I
get
don't
a good night's sleep. It's good.
I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about in college. I'm drinking out of Ula Melendez's slipper. Her shoe. Dr. Bop is raging. And we got her golden slipper and we're drinking out of it. And I walk out and I was always the guy, let's go.
Yeah.
I did it to Lee and my daughter the other night. I'm like, wait. And it was only like 9:30. But I'm like, no, let's have another one. We're having a nice time. And all of a sudden, I saw a person with a cape. I think I've told you this story. And I followed this person to one of those houses behind the Bluebird. And I got to tell you, I had an incredible night. I'm not going any farther than that. It did not involve drugs.
Was it like Halloween?
No.
Why was was it a crime fighter with a cape? What was going on with the cape?
Well, it ended up being a party guy, I guess, and a bunch of women there that were just unbelievable in this house. And I've always said I follow anybody with a cape from that point on.
Good rule of thumb.
It was a great rule of thumb. That thing didn't end until like 6, and I'm like, this is the greatest night ever. And I figured out how to get back to Jackson Heights. But Ken, I was in Syracuse. I told this story on my morning show. I was on Syracuse, and I was getting a sando, and Lee was my girlfriend, but she got a boyfriend. And it was early stages, but I was doing a game out there, and it's like, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I was supposed to be there at the game like at 5 for a 7 o'clock game, and there's a girl, beautiful girl, wearing a cape. Right on the main, it wasn't Halloween, it was on whatever the street is in Syracuse, which has a bunch of bars, and I'm like, shit, I gotta follow this person. I guarantee you there's some hijinks going on. There's hijinks. If you're wearing a cape, I'm not talking about a robe.
Unless it was Marlene Dietrich
It could have been.
something.
You're starring in whatever. Yeah, so I don't subscribe to that, but hey, idiot, don't. Just
no. What do you do? So you're the coach. Here's Mackenzie Mgbako. He's a freshman. He hadn't played a game yet. He's assimilating to Bloomington. What level of consequence do you bring to bear against this kid to reaffirm that kind of shit can't happen?
The smartass in me would say, all right, I'm going to get you a bag full of Taco Bell, and you're going to sit here at half court and you're going to eat it.
Oh, the old cigar in the closet thing with a kid?
Yeah.
All right.
No, here's the deal in colleges now. A lot of times the coaching staff doesn't do discipline. A lot of times the athletic department has all these different things.
How can you run an operation when you don't discipline players?
I'm not saying they're not going to discipline them. I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying this is what's happening at Indiana. I don't know. But I do know that coaches have told me we can't even discipline these guys, and we can't check classes or any of that stuff anymore. Academics was taken out of coaches. I have no idea whether that's the way it is at Indiana. I'm just giving you a little background. It's different than when Coach Knight would just, put the fear of God in you and say your ass is going to run at 6 a.m. until I'm tired, and do it every day until you puke every day. I don't know.
He had that Andre Emmett kid run the equivalent of a marathon, running sprints back and forth, to the point where like Pat had to go tonight and say, hey, he's still running.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, tell him to stop.
Yeah. Yeah, once in a while you do that. I don't know. I mean, again, is it that bad of a deal? In a way it is. I mean, in a way, like people say, well, who hasn't acted like an idiot at Taco Bell? Well, a lot of people act like idiots at Taco Bell, but when you read that report and you see all the steps that the police in that report
they
took,
weren't trying to arrest him.
and he made it impossible.
Yeah.
And I look at it and I say two things, and tell me what you think. I think dumbass, and I think entitled dumbass.
Yeah. Who believes that somehow the campus orbits him?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's
no good. Right.
You can't. All we need is do you know who I am?
And, with the backstory as you know it to be, with the Duke situation and the Kansas situation, was there a reason, a red flag where those schools were like, hey, he's a good player, but we ain't doing that?
I had 3 different people tell me that before, months ago when he committed here. Like, there's a reason Duke didn't want him. There's a reason Kansas did, but really didn't. And if Kansas don't want you, come on, what are we doing here? Like,
Yeah,
right. I'm not,
right.
I like Bill and all that. But we'll see. Again, the problem that I would have would be, as the coach, he's embarrassed our program.
Yeah.
And that was, people think that Bob Knight had all these rules. He didn't have any rules. He just the only rule, I guess, was don't embarrass me, your family, or our basketball program. If you do, I'm going to have to deal with it. And I will deal with it. And that's what I did at Bowling Green. Like, I'm not telling you all, I'm not going to babysit you.
If you have rules that are written, or you say, here are the rules, then it means that anything not covered by the rules is okay.
Well,
it is a really bad idea to have rules. Yeah. To have this like wide open gray area where you get to punish as you see fit. That's the way to go about that stuff.
That is, because what's embarrassed? Well, misdemeanor charge. Well, misdemeanor can be anything. So that on its face value. But when you are such a jackass that you get cuffs on you and you are now placed in prison. Like, we had a kid, DeAndre Thomas, the most ridiculous human being to ever play basketball. The big guy. Literally the most ridiculous, asinine, should never have set foot in Bloomington at IU. Everything that's bad about. So I will give him this. It was one day, Jeff Meyer, myself, Jeff Watkinson, Dr. Rink had coaches over, and whatever the reason, food was great. We're having nice wine, and I got relaxed.
Oh.
And Meyer and I, Jeff didn't drink, but Watkinson and I we're just having a blast. And this is the way it goes in coaching, Ken. All of a sudden, phone rings. Coach, we got a problem. What's the problem? DeAndre's in jail. What that dumb? Because it could have been anything. Like, if you'd have told me, you say whatever the most egregious thing is, I'd have said, yeah, I can see it. Or if you'd have told me, turned out, and they threw him in jail for having a suspended license on tickets, and knowing his family situation. There's no way he knew.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no way he
right.
knew. Like, he wasn't, he get a ticket, and he's probably, his high school coach or his junior college coach said, yeah, don't sweat it, we'll get a ticket. I guarantee you. And so Adam Alfeld bailed him out because we couldn't pay to bail him out. Alfeld bailed him out, and we go down there to get him, and my man, apparently the Monroe County Jail is no place to be. He was like, I'll never do that shit. Them guys are crazy. Them skinheads are crazy, and he was, it made it sound like it was a European soccer hoodlum crowd.
He was scared straight.
Scared shitless. And I think that lasted 10 minutes. And then,
but I saw the last time I saw him, he was playing for Robert Morris of Chicago. The wrong out. Robert Morris.
Yeah,
Did he really?
12. Oh, he got kicked. He's been kicked out of 3 or 4 different leagues.
They played against Loyola of Chicago, and Ryan was at Loyola, and I was watching them warm up. I was like, Julie, I think that's DeAndre Thomas. And it was. He had reacquired some girth.
Yeah, he was just a horrible human being to be around. And I say that with absolutely no respect. I mean, none. In fact, my last official deal at Indiana was looking at him, and after I kicked off Bassett and I kicked off Ellis, and I saw him, and I said, let me tell you something. If I'm still the coach tomorrow, your fat ass is getting kicked off tomorrow. I don't have time right now. Because you had to do all this shit. You had to have a secretary in the meeting and take notes and all. And everybody was kind of gone, and I just happened to run into him. And he was in Assembly Hall probably, I don't know. But anyway, honestly, if I'm here tomorrow, your fat ass is next. And you're going to come see me tomorrow.
Do you have more faith? And again, like you said, we have no idea whether Woodson's even allowed to discipline. But because Xavier Johnson hasn't done anything squirrely since the 90 and a 45 on North Walnut, do you have faith that whatever methodology they've got for bringing consequence to bear, it works?
I think this. I think that according to my people, it was like the 20th time Xavier Johnson went like 90 in a 10-mile an hour.
Really?
Yeah. And so, you finally get arrested. So, look, I would think that Woodson and Indiana would have, on the scale of, most schools, I think they would be more intolerant of stupidity like that, particularly this, because you know what? You got to live in a community. And by live in a community, I mean the coaches live there. Players, and the players are going to turn over, but they're always going to be Indiana basketball players in that city.
Right.
And you cannot put all athletes and students in the position that guy put him in. And frankly, because it affects everybody.
Right.
And because if I'm a cop, you don't want cops saying, well, we're going to be on the lookout for these Indiana basketball players.
Right.
That's what I always liked about being an Indiana basketball player. We were the other way. They like, well, Knight's going to kick your ass, so, better get home.
One thing that I know about middle management, and no matter what, like Mike Woodson's a middle manager, right? You don't want to lose hand. He's got hand now.
Yeah.
With more of this stuff, he loses hand with Dolson. Like right now, he can go in and kind of tell Scott how it is.
Yeah.
A couple of these things, and all of a sudden, Scott's telling Mike how it is, and nobody wants that.
No, you're right about that. And again, it goes to embarrassing the program. And, Scott, here's the thing people don't get, and I'm looking at the camera for this. You don't understand. These people are people. So Scott Dolson, I used to tell Coach Knight this, man, I think I've told you this before. You think you got over on Clarence Doninger by being an asshole right here.
He's keeping receipts.
Damn right. And he's got to go to, Dolson, we want to, people, we can get into Tom Allen here in a minute, but we want to say this is not good, or we want to say that, Allen should be fired or whatever. Okay, well, Scott Dolson literally is the face of it, and he's a human being, so he's, when he's trying to raise money, he's got to answer for that.
Yeah.
And now he's got to answer for this player.
Yeah.
And too much of that, and you're like, hey, hold on, time out here now.
And all of a sudden, President Pamela Whitten is on the phone saying, Scott, what's the matter with the fundraising? And then he's in somebody's office. Well, nobody wants to be in anybody's office.
No. Well, and the president she's got to deal with it too.
Right.
Like she's going to the same parties, or she's going to the same place, and they ain't asking her about, hey, the biology grade was great this year. I really think our department is on the right. No.
How about your finite math students?
Yeah. I mean, I guarantee you they're asking her about that. They're asking her about, diversity issue, because those are the popular issues. And the minutia is what a president and an athletic director deals with every day. But that's not what the public deals when they're dealing with the coach or the president or the athletic director.
Right.
They're dealing with what the front door is, the public. And in Tom Allen's case, it's getting your ass beat. In Woody's case now, it's this issue. So
this couldn't have come at a better time, though. Like Tom Allen, maybe he pulled Mackenzie Mgbako aside. And he said, look, if you could be a dickhead at the Taco Bell on 3rd Street, that'd go a long way toward, you know what, LEO, you get an LEO hat.
And I'll give you about 10 grand because, apparently Tom Allen's making a lot of money. Yeah, divert, right? I mean.
Right.
Hey, I will tell you this, and I followed this pretty close. I haven't seen a whole lot of talking about Tom Allen on the whole IU world of Twitter.
No.
It's been about this situation, so you're not too far off. But I thought watching Indiana on Saturday
against Rutgers?
was pathetic.
Were you there?
No.
Okay,
No,
good.
no.
I
was going. My daughter was coming with friends, and we were going to take the bus, but whatever happened, she crapped out, and we ended up playing pickleball and taking a 10-mile walk around Geist, which I highly recommend, but it hurts.
Somehow more fun.
Yeah.
Like a 10-mile walk isn't always more fun than something, but it was more fun than watching that.
Were you there?
No, I watched on TV, and I watched to the end just out of like obstinance. You're not going to get me to turn this thing off. And I sat there like some kind of idiot and watched right to the end.
We did that at Park 4, something in Fishers. Great sports bar.
Oh, yeah. Right, on 116th Street?
Yes.
Awesome.
We went to play pickleball, Lee, Laura, and I, and then we went and I had a beer and a half. And I always get great ideas when I go, I don't want to go sit around and watch football all day, because we watched to the end of the Indiana game, same as you. And I go, let's go walk. She goes, well, it's 10 miles around Geist. Go, let's do that. So here's what we did. We went from there and we went to, we were going to go to Wolfie's, but Wolfie's is closed for some reason for a party on Saturday.
Right.
What was that party?
Yeah, I don't know.
What was it? I figure AJ Hammond's has to be.
I just saw a sign on the door saying closed,
Yeah.
October 21st or whatever.
Anyway,
AJ
Hammond. I saw him outside liquor store. I was going to AJ's, CJ's.
Yeah.
What is it?
AJ's.
Yeah, AJ's over here. I was parking. I kind of walking in. Somebody called my name over here, and I looked, and all of a sudden I see AJ Hammond and 4 idiots just acting stupid outside the liquor store.
He lives like blocks from there. So.
Yeah, and he got debooted or something.
Yeah.
Like too many parties, gunplay, stupid stuff.
Greg Oden is in AJ's quite a bit. I walk in, it's...
Love that guy.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
He's sitting by himself watching TV, drinking beers. It's not the... It's like, as far as life choices go,
I don't think that's the life he...
No. Brian Wilkes was there. I think it was Wilkes, Gary Dick, and Greg Oden. It was like a cast of characters. It was awesome.
You ever hang out with Brian Wilkes?
Oh, he's the best.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, he's awesome. We had a little afternoon session. My late mother-in-law, one of her friends, and Brian was there with some of his Chicago buddies at a place right here. Oh, yeah.
He can tell a story.
Woo! And he's got some.
Yeah.
And the guys he was with, I think there was a couple made men there. I straightened up a little bit. All right, so let me ask you. What do you... Like, I actually said this after the game, and I'm wrong. You can't do this. But if I were Dolson, I would have to be talked out of firing Tom Allen after that game. I got to pay. I got to find someone to pay. I'm sorry. I got to be a big boy school.
Could this be so painful for Tom that he would negotiate his number down to be out of the deal?
Yeah, probably.
Because this has got to be, like, horrible. To know that you are an ill fit for your job and continue to ask yourself to grind through it day after day, 16 hours a day, that's got to be the worst existence on the planet.
When I was at Bowling Green, my last 2 years, when we had nobody to play, we were playing, it was horrible.
Yeah.
Because you try and you keep going, but I'm playing walk-ons, right? And if I'm not playing walk-ons and I'm playing freshmen, then I'd hope to redshirt, because our best players are sitting here freaking hurt and they're done.
Right.
And it's horrible. Horrible. If I were Tom Allen, I would have to figure out, how much money do you need?
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like he's a money guy, but everybody's a money guy, huh? Yeah, okay. Never mind. You gave me that look.
LEO, love each other, love each other's money. I
love your money if I can get yours.
Look, how many of those guys, I don't mean to get and this isn't about religion, but I have yet to meet, and it's not about religion, because it's people in all religions, but there are religious people that I know among all religions who are very, very driven by the dollar.
Oh,
like, it's not everything for God.
Oh,
but boy, I sure like my boat.
Tithe the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Give me 10% of what you got.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no doubt. And that's a bad rap. Like, one of our favorites is Van Pasterman on here, and he's an earnest man. And most people are earnest, and maybe you and I are too cynical. I know I am. And I don't feel that Tom Allen is a fake, not a fake. I'm going to stand with what I said. I don't feel like Tom Allen's a money guy. I don't feel like. I think he knew he's a business guy. He got over because he knew he had leverage. And in the history of deals, Scott Dolson made about as bad a one as you can make.
That's really a bad deal.
That's a really bad deal.
That was a bad extension.
It's unnecessary.
Right. Where's he going to go?
I mean,
it was
Central
like Creed
Florida.
with Fred. Like, what'd you do that for? And he said, well, the buyout is reciprocal. So if he leaves, he's got to pay us. I said, who the hell's going to hire him? Because it was so preposterous, I couldn't even pretend that it's not. And I think he changed the subject. It was quite a lunch. It might have been our final lunch.
Would you, I was thinking about it. Nobody, like this kid, Mackenzie, whatever the hell, Mgbako, whatever, should not get NIL money because his name, image, and likeness is worth nothing. If he came here, he was paid to play here by these maniacs, these Hoosier hysterics. So what I would say was, hey, look, we're pulling your NIL money.
Yeah. That's fair.
You know, if you're going to embarrass us here, your name, image, and likeness means, excuse my language, but Jimbo Bodner was a cop in Gary, and he used to say, it don't mean dick.
Yeah.
His name, image, and likeness isn't worth nothing. Zero. Zip. Now, he hit 6 threes against Kentucky, whatever. Okay. But right now, it don't mean shit. So I would say, look, whatever money we're getting, stop. You've embarrassed us. If you want to transfer, God bless you. Somebody will take you. You're a 5-star recruit. But I'm not paying your sorry ass to be an idiot. And that's what you're being.
You can't even do that.
You can't.
Well, can you? If you can, then he's an employee. If you have any tether to the money that goes between the boobs and the kid, then you're.
They told me Woodson called the boobs up and said, hey, we need another $100,000 for Drew Shafino, whatever his name is. Drew Shafino's his uncle, Hood Shafino. We need another $100,000. And the boobs got it for him.
Then they ought to be employees. That's a whole different discussion.
No, but I'm just saying, what would you make him run?
Well, I definitely do that.
I don't know if you can. I swear to God, I don't know. I'm going to find this out for our show. If we have a show Thursday, I'm telling you, I don't know if you can do that.
Like within the rules of the NCAA?
Within the rules of schools
and
IU, all of it. I'm telling you.
If you can't discipline guys, I couldn't be a coach.
That's why.
If you can't hold people to some kind of accountability standard and have consequences that you can bring to bear, I can't do it.
I don't think you can.
Nobody's asking me, but I couldn't do it.
People would ask me if I wanted to go work for him as an assistant, a couple Big Ten schools. I'm like, fuck no.
Yeah.
No. You mentioned hand. Yeah. Which is, Seinfeld, you're talking about hand. Right. If you got no hand, you got nothing.
Right.
Particularly when athletes have never had more hand.
Management through hope.
Oh.
That's no good.
No. Down with dope, up with hope. No. But you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You got to, but I'm swearing, I could be dead wrong. And, somebody, maybe Dolson, maybe I'll ask him. But my understanding is that old corporal punishment or whatever you called it, I don't think you're allowed to do that anymore.
Well, I'm not. Don't give a kid swats. Don't take out the paddle. Man, the paddle in southern Indiana, I didn't even know what it was. I was like, hey, what's that wooden thing? That's a paddle. So what do they do with it? They hit children. I said, they hit children? They'll hit us? If we do something screwy, they hit us? Yes. I was like, jeez.
Did you ever get it?
No. I told my dad, and dad said, you know what? I think I'm going to drive you to school tomorrow. I said, oh, okay. And I didn't put the 2 and 2 together. I went this way. He went to the principal's office, and he told the pal, I'll try to tell it without the profanity. He went into the counselor's office and said, Mr. Elliott, just one thing, real quick. If anybody touches a hair on my son's head, I'm going to take a baseball bat to his knees. And Mr. Elliott said, let me go get Mr. Sharp. So he went and got the assistant principal, and Mr. Sharp came in and said, hey, just want to take a minute of your time. Just let you know, you ever touch a hair on my son's head, I'm going to take a baseball bat to your knees. And that was the end. Like I heard that from the school secretary, who was the mom of a friend. I didn't even hear it from Dad. I was like, geez, that's kind of serious. But
Did they paddle kids?
Oh, hell yeah.
They
Teachers
did?
would.
What year? What, high
principals,
school?
Junior high.
Junior high.
7th grade and 8th grade and 9th grade. And but nobody paddled me. that wasn't going to happen. Mr. Sterling was a bit off the rails.
He's a made man. He's a made man. My dad had the shop class at Calumet High School make one for my brother and I. We came home and I'm like, hey, what's this?
Did it have the holes in it?
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, it was made, out of
my
it
goodness.
had stripes. It was painted. I got it.
Wow.
I got Andrew with one of my fraternity paddles. I'm like, yeah, you're not doing this shit. And those things, you don't have to hit hard. I hit him. I gave him a good one time, and I got to tell you, he didn't.
You got compliance, did you?
To this day, he's like, that was a pretty good move. He goes, and I didn't like it, and he goes, that was a pretty good move. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my mom, when she paddled us, we would fake cry.
Yeah.
Because 5 of them hurt.
Right.
Like 2 of them, we're like, oh God, Mom, Well, my dad, you just knew you were going to get your ass, What else are we talking about?
I want to talk about McAfee.
Give it to me.
ESPN, and it sounds like they don't understand, but, and you know this, we've talked about this, that when you do research projects on a guy, on talent, what you want, they're graded from 1 to 5. 1, poor. I don't like this person. 5, love this person. What you want are 1s and 5s. You don't want just 1s, but 1s you like, 5s you really like, 3s are death. Pat is all over the 1s and all over the 5s, and his graph, if ESPN doesn't get this, and I guarantee you that they do, they understand that this is really good. And Pat needs to know that it's good. And I don't know whether this is negotiation by Pat or whether he feels like ESPN doesn't understand him or what this is. But if he leaves college football game day, why in the hell would anybody watch that show?
Oh, I totally agree. Oh, I agree with all of it.
He's it.
But that show has gone from incredibly dull to, okay, let's see what Pat's going to do. Yeah. Oh, I've said forever, Urban Meyer's segment on coaching is the best pregame NFL because I learned something.
Right.
When I see the NFL on CBS or the NFL on, it's like 5 guys. Yeah. When I see Game Day, no, nothing. And what that Pollock guy said nothing. He's gone. Desmond Howler has made a career out of saying nothing. Herb Street, I remember Reese Davis, and I love Reese. He's a friend. We work together, but he's like, well, because I said, you guys don't have a coach. How you getting on? Well, Herbie's dad was a coach, and he's like I go, no.
When was the last time you heard Kirk Herbstreit say anything that stuck in your head?
Nothing.
0.
And I think he's mad at me.
Nice guy.
I got a text from him saying, oh, I love your honesty when I was ripping their whole show.
But know what that means.
Yeah, oh yeah. And I'm like, hey, appreciate you liking it. Thanks for following. Some stupid shit like that. But if McAfee isn't out, here's the deal. And Pat's smart. I'm going to tell you what Pat did. Pat, I don't know if you saw this, but he talked about not signing his contract.
Right.
And he also threw in there, and I know Pat and I text, not all the time, but enough. I know what he threw in there. He threw in his escape plan, which is, I've been working 7 days a week now for the last 2 football seasons, and I love it. No. He's got a young baby daughter that he is awesome dad with. He's not a fake. He's got a young wife. I'm sure they're planning on having another child or 2. He's a doting father. He has always bet on himself.
Yeah.
He's always bet on himself.
And he's always won.
Yes, he has. And I saw that, and I'm like, oh, you know what you got. You know that 1s and 5s, to use your vernacular, is good.
Right.
And you also know if this doesn't work out, hey, man, I'm the one not signing this contract that's in front of me, and I've been working 7 days a week. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
As soon as I read that, I'm like, you're a smart mom.
So that's to open up communication with Fox or CBS?
Well, no, he's not leaving ESPN because of that show.
But he's not an employee of ESPN with the show, right?
Yes.
That's his company. ESPN puts the show that Pat owns on its networks, is the way I understand it.
That could be. Well, that's a good way. Yeah. And so you're saying that he really his
I don't know.
His talent contract would be with Gameday. His company contract would be with that. Well,
that's a clearance deal. The way I understand
it's still a pretty good contract.
Really good.
Yeah, he's making
and
more
it's
than
exposed
anybody.
him to please, millions and millions. It's the one thing on ESPN that I will watch, because not only are the guests really good, the questions of the guests are awesome. They are so good. And so they get great answers. I don't like Nick Saban. I know people in college coaching who do not like Nick Saban at all, and they have good reason. I like him on that show. I'll watch Nick Saban with Pat, and I wouldn't watch Nick with anybody else, but they're really good, and it's smart questions, and he's kind of relaxed and chill. I really enjoy it. Great show.
I don't disagree with that at all. It's here's what I've said about Pat, and I didn't really get to my point. They don't have a coach on Game Day,
right?
But his insight, they have a coach.
Yeah,
he's the guy. Like, people think his deal is shtick, his deal is comedy, his deal is promotion, bombast. If you pay attention to that show, he gives you some great shit.
Yeah,
like great shit. And that's where I'm saying, if they lose him, Bob Stoops replaced Urban when Urban went to the Jaguars for that year at Big Noon. I'm just thinking who they could bring in. He was no good. I mean, he's a nice guy and a smart guy, but he's a very professional coach.
Who's both really, really well-informed and has unique perspective and is unafraid to convey it.
Dockage.
That's it. That's it. But they aren't on like the NBC pregame. And I like Tony Dungy, but
I used to like Tony Dungy when he had the clicker.
Yeah,
he used to have that coach's clicker, and I thought, you know what? If people are paying attention, you're going to learn something.
You got to give something to the smart people.
You do, and that's why. Here's when I got turned on by what Urban does on that show. I watched the Wishbone offense my whole life.
Yeah,
and whatever game they were doing, it was a Wishbone team against whoever. Okay, I had no idea that the most important person you take away. Do you know who the most important person is you take away in the Wishbone?
Who?
The fullback.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I'm like, well, you got to hit the quarterback as hard as you can. I don't care. Just hit the quarterback. Or you got to hit the runner. Or you got to hit the whatever. No. He explained it how if you can't take away the fullback in the Wishbone offense, you can't guard the Wishbone offense. And he did it in such a way where I'm like, holy shit. So now I'm watching the game, and I'm watching whoever the hell it was just absolutely destroy this fullback. And the Wishbone made a couple plays, but whoever it was got their ass kicked. And I'm like, that's what I personally want to see.
Right.
There's nobody in college basketball that does that. There's nobody in football that, and NFL's the worst because it's all network buttoned up.
Well, they don't have any managers who have any idea how to ferret out the good from the crap. You know what I mean? They know performance and they know scoring. They know this person tested at this level. They know that. But as far as news you can use, there no. Bill Cowher is basically irresponsible in what he says sometimes. He is so far wrong that it's irresponsible to convey what he says. But they don't know that. They just, and because people at home don't know, so there are no complaints, there's no noise. People, oh, he's a nice man. Right. I remember him.
When you turn a set on, and you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys.
Yeah.
And you got, let's just say, an extended. You got 8 minutes is long, for a halftime show in particular. What's anybody really going to tell you?
Right. You know what you got if you got 5 guys? You got nobody. It's like if you got 2 starting quarterbacks, you have none. If you've got the MC and you got 4 analysts, you've got no analysts because you need 1.
Yeah. That's why I thought Chris Berman and
Tom Jackson.
I thought it was all right.
Yeah.
Because it was just 2 guys. Now, Berman was a little much sometimes, but all right. But it was just 2 guys. Jackson really knew football. And how did you, when you're on those sets, yesterday, somebody got mad at Boomer. like, well, you didn't leave us any time, or you squeezed the orange or some bullshit because he was talking too long. Yeah. And how do you not when you got 5 guys up? It's useless. Yeah. And if McAfee goes from game day, you're gonna. I think, and I thought, now they're playing better. I thought maybe Saban is kind of putting himself in. Maybe I want to do that, but because I know Saban and Urban talk, and I know Urban's like, this job is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm around the game. What do I do? That's how you look at it as a coach, because other people may be like, well, the travel. He leaves on Thursday, comes home Saturday night if he wants or something. Gives a shit. So I just think Game Day, and Game Day lost their anchor. Game Day, they fired Lee Fitting, who basically created the modern Game Day. They fired him right before the season, and Lee's a friend, and I don't know what happened, but
really smart guy,
brilliant. I thought he would be running not only ESPN, but I thought Lee would be running Disney.
Really,
Lee was so just smart and innovative, and when you talk to him, he just kind of like, all right.
Yeah,
this guy. Because there's a lot of clowns. Like Dave Roberts runs football, and Dave's an idiot. I mean, Dave's like, fuck. And everybody knows why Dave's there, and he didn't, whatever. But, yeah. No.
There you go. We've gone media, we've gone Colts, we've gone IU. We touched all the bases.
Yeah.
Pat's brilliant, and if ESPN doesn't do what Pat wants, then they're idiots.
They're idiots. And I don't think they're idiots. I think they'll get it worked out.
Hope so.
Are we going to like and subscribe? We need more subscribers, or we're stopping this.
Yeah, for God's sake, let's go. Subscribe, and I think we're giving away a Jonathan Taylor autographed jersey now that he's back in our good graces. We'll do that sometime later this week, early next week, and you've got to be a subscriber here and to my channel in order to qualify.
Yeah, you got to subscribe to both. And by the way, I was up at 4:30 this morning, couldn't sleep. So I came down here, turned the light on, went Big E Wannenberg and got a workout in, went upstairs, and I don't know what time you did it, but I opened up Twitter, and there you were. Like, it must have been like 5:15.
6:45.
No chance. All right, then maybe I worked out longer than I thought. I don't know, but I thought the first video came at like, no, not 5:30.
No, God, no.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I waked up. Yeah, I awakened at 5:45 and was live at 6:45. And then do the radio show on WGCL in Bloomington from 7 to 9.
Yeah, you got to pay attention to that show. Are you guys in the office? Are you in the building right across from the comedy place?
No, we are right at the ass end of Kilroy Sports and that Taco Bell. We're right past the alley. It's like something City Center or something like that.
Yeah.
So 7th and College.
And you're there Tuesdays.
Yeah. I go down on Tuesdays.
Otherwise, it's the studio in the crib.
Yep.
I think one of these shows, maybe later this week, Van Pasterman says he has listened to Kent's radio show online. Maybe we'll do a question and answer session.
Ooh. That leaves a lot. That's kind of like taking callers on a show.
Yeah.
You've got to trust that you're going to get good questions.
No, we'll make fun of you.
We'll answer.
I miss making fun of people. Here, go to dandockage.com, and there's a thing there to ask me questions.
Oh, nice.
And Lee will download the questions, and then we'll figure it out. Now,
Very good.
We'll see. We'll either be Thursday or maybe Friday. By the way, last thing, Kent. So Laura and I go to Bloomington. I had to pick her up. She was there on work. I pick her up. We're like, let's go to Nick's, have lunch. I have a great Strom. Strom's had been bad. Not anymore. They're good. I call my boy Steve Engel, who owns the upstairs pub. Kent, the upstairs pub.
Oh,
you know what's going on there?
Yeah. I've walked by that.
Shit,
yeah.
They've got the
That's
old
awesome.
pub. Then they built, but listen to this. So they, right now, until Halloween, they make this long bar, a beach bar. So it's got beach chairs. There's a window that shows water, and everything's beachy. I think it's November 1st, they change it to a ski lodge.
Oh.
Then over here, my man has a sports bar that's getting ready to open up. It's got he bought for, I don't know, $10,000. You know the old scoreboards that swung on north and south end zone?
Yeah.
He bought one of them.
Oh.
And he's putting it up inside this, and it's going to be connected to Assembly Hall, the LED stuff there. So when you're at this place, beautiful bar, high-end bar, with these each two TV, you can make them quadrant to make them one TV, you know what I'm saying, with that, all the way across. Then it gets better. Then we're walking. And he's telling me, he goes, I'm going to show you something, but I'm not going to tell you. I go, okay. Laura and I are walking, and there's signs, and all of a sudden, there's all these IU pictures by the library, the different banners that are on the streets, and one of them says library. And I look, we stop. He puts his thumb in. He opens the door. It's a speakeasy. It's that's where we're going next. I'm getting Julie, I'm getting Lee, you're getting Julie, and we're going down there, and they made a library card for me, number 11. So you can go up the back way. You don't have to see anybody. You go up this back way. It's where Kendall Jenner was just there, and you put your card in, and so you know they have, if you're ever at upstairs, there are red lights and green lights, stoplights. If you see red light, that means the library is full, you can't go in. See a green light, you can go in. It is the most, Steve Engel is a freaking genius. He's one of my good friends. It's unbelievable. I told Lee, we got to get people, and we got to go there. We got to start in the, let's say it's winter. We're going to start in the ski lodge. We're going to go to a sports bar, watch a game, and then we're going to finish the night in the, all completely different bars.
Wow.
Unbelievable. I'm so fired up for him. But Laura and I are like, this is amazing. I've never seen nothing like that.
Well, I'm going in there tomorrow.
Are you? Do it. I'll tell him you're going to be in.
Steve Engel.
Steve Engel.
All right.
Great dude.
We'll talk to you Thursday.
See you.